Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please stand for a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the record, this is a public meeting. The Bayonne Board of Education. It is 7:30 p.m. The 17th day of December. We're convening in the Anna J. Herbert Meeting Room. Presiding officers Joseph Broderick, President of the Bayonne Board of Education. Those in attendance include Mr. John Neese, Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Kenneth Kopaz, Assistant Superintendent for Personnel, Dr. Gary Maida, Board Secretary, Mr. Daniel Castles, School Business Administrator, Mr. Thomas Fagu, Jr., Assistant School Business Administrator, Dr. Dennis Degnan, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, and Mr. Mitchell Pasquale, our Board Counsel. The meeting's open to the public. I will take a roll call. Trustee Alonso.
Present.
Trustee Casillas.
Here.
Trustee Cruden is absent. Trustee Finnerty.
Here.
Trustee Munoz.
Here.
Trustee Ryan.
Here.
Trustee Villado.
Here.
Vice President Wilbeck.
Here.
President Broderick.
Present. For the record, adequate written advance notice of at least 48 hours giving the time, date, and location of this meeting with the agenda was provided as follows. Notice was prominently posted in City Hall at 630 Avenue C on the bulletin board reserved for such announcements of the Board of Education. The Board Secretary sent such notice to the Jersey Journal and the Bayonne Community News. Notice was filed with the Municipal Clerk of the City of Bayonne, Ms. Madeline Medina. Before we start our meeting, I'd first like to ask everybody if we could give a moment of silence for Detective Joe Seals, who's a graduate here at Bayonne High School back in '97, I believe, and actually the 4 other poor victims that were lost their lives way too early to cowardly and hateful act of terrorism. So please, let's have a moment of silence. Thank you. I'd also like to request some prayers for, we still have 3 of our high school students who had a car accident, I believe it was like 2 weeks ago, and they're in a big uphill battle, so during this season, if you could remember them in your prayers, I'd appreciate it. And I think we have one more thing. Trustee Munoz?
Yes, also I'd like to, so one of our own students, Dante Rodriguez, who was a student at Lincoln Community School, we just found out that he's been diagnosed with leukemia. We'd like to keep in our thoughts and prayers through this holiday season, and I don't think there's not one person in Bayonne who doesn't know Dante, who Dante hasn't touched, so let's please keep him and his family in our thoughts and prayers this holiday season. Thank you.
Okay. With that, we'll start with our commendations. I'll read them into the record. On behalf of the members of the Board of Education and Central Office Administrators, commendations and praise are extended to Sherry Yannicone from Mary J. Donahue Community School for your professionalism, your dedication during an unforeseen emergency. Thank you for going above and beyond for all our students, and it's by the Committee of the Whole. Sherry is here. And we'd like to ask Monica Flynn, our director, to please join us. Would you please? Well, we weren't going to do it separate, but how about we take 1 second on behalf of the members of the Board of Education and Central Office Administrators. Commendations and praise are also extended to Brian Murphy from Mary J. Donahue Community School for your professionalism and dedication during an unforeseen emergency. Thank you for going above and beyond for our students. Thank you so much. By the Committee of the Whole.
on over, guys.
Yes.
Gotta come over, take a picture.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we were at the Chandelier, actually, they were at the Chandelier when the horrible events of the shooting occurred in Jersey City, a short stone's throw away, and we responded, and they had to entertain 45 pre-K students, and they did so. They were just so happy. The kids were just so happy and working hard. And paraprofessionals do not get all the credit and thanks that you deserve. So on behalf of all our paraprofessionals and seeing what you did, it just
Thank you.
we wanted to recognize you. So thank you.
One more, Mr. Trustee.
What?
One more.
Brother, I gotta read really quick. I just want to say that I had the pleasure to have Miss Murphy and Miss Yannicone teach both of my kids at Mary J. Donahue. And first off, I want to apologize for everything they've done right now. and really give you a hug or a medal or something for dealing with them. But I just want to say thank you for taking care of my kids, like, you know, and I know you take care of my kids like you take care of all your kids with compassion and heart. And thank you so much from the bottom of my heart and my family. So thank you.
Next, whereas Vice Principal and former Social Studies teacher, Mr. Evan Wexler, has brought honor and distinction to Bayonne High School and the entire school community in the city of Bayonne by being named a 2019 Exemplary Educator by the New Jersey Department of Education. Whereas Mr. Wexler provided outstanding leadership and life-changing opportunity for his Model UN students. Whereas Mr. Wexler assumed the positions of leadership in the Social Studies Department by pioneering a new course and by conducting professional development workshop for his peers. Whereas Mr. Wexler's students had great success with National History Day. Whereas Vice Principal and former Social Studies teacher, Mr. Evan Wexler was named the 2019 Exemplary Educator by the New Jersey Department of Education because of the aforementioned efforts. Whereas the Board of Education wishes to recognize the outstanding achievements of Mr. Wexler, be it hereby resolved that this Board of Education wishes its heartfelt congratulations to Mr. Wexler by the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Wexler. Mr. Ward, Ms. Casimir. No, you've been asked to come up, Ms. Casimir. Can't escape the spotlight.
Congratulations.
All right. We'll let it sit in the middle. We have one more.
Just a quick note, though, if anyone hasn't gone by to see the Henry Harris tree, it's like going to New York. It's spectacular. Very good.
Got one more. And our final commendation.
Before you go on,
Go ahead.
well, one really has to also note, we're so very, very pleased. Evan was chosen out of hundreds of teachers from the entire state of New Jersey to be the exemplary teacher of the year. However, that doesn't happen unless he's nominated. And a special thanks to the director of the Social Studies Department, Mr. Ward, for spending the time and the effort and making sure that such an exemplary teacher has been recognized. And we are so very, very proud of this, and we thank you for making that happen, as well as Evan for doing all that you've done. Thank you.
Whereas social study teacher Ms. Christina Casillas went above and beyond by applying for and being awarded a grant from the Gilder Lerman Hamilton program. Whereas Christina Casillas' efforts resulted in 80 Bayonne High School students seeing the award-winning musical Hamilton on October 30th, 2019. Whereas because of Christina Casillas' efforts, Bayonne High School students Gabriella Megale and Carl Basil Blaza performed an original work on the stage of Richard Rogers Theater. Whereas Christina Casillas further enriched our students' learning experience by securing and displaying an exhibit on Alexander Hamilton from the Gilder Lerman Institute. Whereas an advisor to the Bayonne High School Travel Club, Christina Casillas has given countless hours of her time providing rewarding experiences to our students by single-handedly arranging trips to Boston, Massachusetts, Canada, and Washington, D.C., where students can become immersed in history and the culture of these areas, whereas the Board of Education wishes to recognize the outstanding achievements of Christina, and hereby resolve that this Board of Education wishes its heartfelt congratulations by the Committee of the Whole. Okay. Next up, we'll start with, we have two items, approval of minutes and two items on communication. Do I have a motion?
So moved?
Motion by trustee Villado, and a second?
I'll move.
And a second by Vice President Wilbeck. On that motion and second, trustee Alonso?
Yes.
Trustee Casillas?
Yes.
Trustee Cruden is absent. Trustee Finerty?
Yes?
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Trustee Villado?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
Next up is our consent agenda, starting with curriculum, resolutions A1 to A24. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Motion by trustee Casillas and a second.
I'll second.
Second.
Second by trustee Villado, members of the curriculum committee. On that motion and second, trustee Casillas?
Yes.
Yes,
Sorry.
that's all right. Trustee Cruden is absent. Trustee Finerty?
Yes?
Trustee Munoz?
I don't know, trustee Casillas kind of hesitated a little bit, so I don't want to. Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Nothing.
Yes.
Trustee Villado?
Yes.
Trustee Alonso?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
Next up is our Finance, Building and Grounds, B1 to B9. Who from the committee would like to move?
I move.
So there's a motion by trustee Ryan. Who would like to second?
I'll second.
Second by trustee Alonso. So we have a motion and second on the finance agenda. On that motion and second, trustee Cruden is absent. Trustee Finerty?
Yes?
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Trustee Villado?
Yes.
Trustee Alonso?
Yes.
Trustee Casillas?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
Next up is Personnel, Resolution C1 to C15. I would just like to point out a typo on C5 on the agenda, and that should be November, December. Give me one sec. Yes. So it's the approval of harassment, intimidation, and bullying for November, December 2019. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Motion by Vice President Wilbeck and a second.
I'll second.
A second by trustee Finerty. On that motion and second, trustee Munoz.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan.
I don't know. Trustee Munoz hesitated a second.
I did.
Yes.
Trustee Villado.
Yes.
Trustee Alonso.
Yes.
Trustee Casillas.
Yes.
Trustee Cruden is absent. Trustee Finerty.
Yes?
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
President, that is all I have for this evening, but we do have 2 questions from the audience. Mr. Wyatt, Joe Wyatt, 301 Maple Avenue, number 261, North Plainfield. What is the cost of lies?
And this at last is the gift of Chernobyl. Where I once would fear the cost of the truth, now I only ask, what is the cost of lies? At the last meeting, I asked a question like, why do you think that I'm the only person out of 800 teachers that comes before the board? And the answer was because they are following the chain of command. And that opened up for me the one thing I've been trying to figure out, what is the biggest lie that we tell ourselves? I also was very, very angry. I'm not a vengeful person, but I consider that a personal insult because anyone who sees that video thinks that I'm the only guy that doesn't follow the chain of command and the other 800 do, and I look like a jerk. And that is absolutely false. The irony of it is, if you talk to anybody in this high school, I am the one person who follows the rules. The ones that make a difference anyway. And and what the reply uncovered is the lie is there's a chain of command. There is not a chain of command. It is corrupt. That's why nobody follows it. I defy you to bring me any evidence that anybody has ever followed that chain of command and got anything done. The purpose of that chain of command was to protect the superintendent from having to handle any difficult problems. Okay? It was a protection device. And it's just it's unconscionable. I mean, and the thing that scares me is I went back and told, I think Mr. Broderick actually believes that there's a chain of command. Either that or he purposely besmirched my reputation by implying that I don't follow the chain of command. The only reason I come to you is because I can't get through the chain of command. The chain of command suppresses everything. And if you don't know that, you're asleep. You've got to wake up. And I'm really angry with the members of the board. Ms. Finnerty and Mr. Welbeck have worked in this school district. We have had conversations about this. And Mr. Munoz works in a school district too, I believe. Don't you? Yeah, you know how it works. The chain of command is designed to protect the administration. It's supposed to be a two-way street, but it's just a one-way street. And you give them things, and they thank you for it, and then they never do anything. There's a safety issue in the southwest corner of this high school that's a danger to all of our students. For 10 years, I've been getting somebody to pay attention to me. Finally, Dr. Wanko paid attention to me. But when he passed it to the administration, they dropped the ball. If we ever really have a fire in this building and we have a panic, we're going to lose students trying to egress the building on the southwest corner. And it's well documented. I got videos of it. I've shown it to the administration. So you got to get, the chain of command is broken. It is corrupt. It doesn't work. And the reason people don't use it is because they just get ignored, okay? So we got to, and that's the only reason I come to you guys, because nothing ever works. So, get off this idea that the chain of command works. Got to fix that.
Mr. Wyatt.
Have a nice holiday.
Next up is Mr. Anthony D'Amico, 73 West 6th Street.
Anthony D'Amico, 73 West 6th Street. Originally, I was just coming up to thank a couple people for help that they provided, but I got a curious question on A11. I was wondering why VP Wilbeck was able to vote on that when obviously there's a conflict on that. I know the board,
Mr. D'Amico, I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
What about now? Which one? There we go. I said on A11, that was just voted on by everybody on the board. There's obviously a conflict on it.
Mr. President, I can
Yeah.
answer that.
Well, I thought I could. It's only because the one name darkened in, that's the only person that was actually being voted on tonight.
Okay.
So it had
no
nothing to do
problem.
with the prior people.
That's fine. The other thing, I just wanted to meet with Mr. Castle and Dr. Fagu earlier. Just thanks again, and just putting it out to the public that they're open. They'll go over the budget, they'll go over everything with you. They're very transparent. And then Dr. Mader as well, today with helping out with the agenda and everything, just the response and everything. You know, it's nice to actually send an email and get a response from certain people. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew. Obviously, you guys are doing a great job.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. D'Amico.
Okay, almost done, right? All right. Yeah. Well, before we go tonight, I'd like to just, that time of season, I'd like to thank some people. First, I'd like to thank our superintendent and his staff. I'd like to thank Mr. Kopaz and his staff, Mr. Degnan and his staff, Mr. Castle and that terrific staff. I'd also like to thank our board council. Especially like to thank Dr. Mader. The ship would be going underneath if he wasn't here. I think he helps me to no end. So I really appreciate his efforts. Sometimes it's like these poor people back here, and Dr. Mader like being the coach of a team. If something goes wrong, you blame the coach. And let's get rid of the coach, and let's do this. But the fact of the matter is sometimes it's not the coach that's missing the tackle or the coach that throws the interception or the coach that, but they are the ones that take the hit. But being up here, you get to see exactly how much work all these people do, and it's such a tremendous amount of work that I just once again want to thank them. I think I said I want to thank our board council because we wouldn't be able to do anything without their approval, basically. And all our entire staff, all our principals, directors, vice principals, teachers, secretaries, custodians, transportation people, repair, everyone else. They just do a tremendous job, and when we get up here, you get to see sometimes just how hard they do work, and I just wanted to thank everybody. And I know I'm forgetting somebody, but I apologize for that. I'd also like to say goodbye to a couple of people. Actually, one's not here tonight. Our trustees, Carol Cruden and Chuck Ryan. When we talk about trustees, when you get on the board, we've been on the board with these people for pretty much the beginning when it went to an elected board. And, you know, what you do is you create friendships. And I can honestly say I think I have everyone on the board I tried to create a friendship with, and I did create friendships with. Some people I weren't on the board that long with, people like Chris Pachaki and Barry Kushner, who on a short period of time, but I still talk to them, I know them now, so it was a tremendous thing. Then I have other members, people like Mary Jane Desmond, Ted Gerlich, Mike Wawandi, who you know, I see and I talk to, and it's a tremendous thing, and it's terrific to be able to work with these people. And tonight, this will be the last meeting for two of our board members, and I'm going to miss them dearly, but I know they're still my friends, and we'll keep in touch. When I was talking about Carol, who's not here to defend herself, basically I could tell you that she was very diligent in her work. If she had to send something out, she sent. If you told her to do something, it was done. It was simple as that. She was tremendously fair. Sometimes you'll get people saying, oh, he's on that side, she's on that side. Nobody ever said that about Carol. Carol would do what she thought is right, no matter what. And finally, just to say, since you're not here, a lot of times people they'll come up to me and they go, you know, you're not forceful enough. You don't do this, you don't do that. And I said, well, I'm pretty fair about that, at least, and that I don't raise my voice, don't get too mad. Where Carol, on the other hand, what I'd like to say, Carol was what we call an equal opportunity yeller. And I don't think anyone else on the board could get away with her, but she was so fair, but she yelled at everybody. And she was just a tremendous person, well, she is a tremendous person, and we're going to miss her. My buddy Chuck over here, once again, just a person that was always well prepared. If he came and said something and you asked him, he had paperwork, he backed it up to no end. Every meeting, diligent, once again, always there. If you needed something, it was going to be done. He also displayed a tremendous logic. He'd give you all the angles of it. He'd say, we'd get emotional about things, and he'd say, no, this is exactly what's going to happen, whether you like it or you don't like it. And most of the time, he's 100% correct on that. When it comes to educating the kids, there was no one, that was any better than Chuck, especially when it comes to special ed, special needs students. He was a true advocate for them, or he is a true advocate for them, and he still will be, I'm sure. And he'll be missed by that group, I think, sorely. But one thing I learned about Chuck is that you don't want to get him mad. All of a sudden, the vein comes down the side of his neck, and you could see it coming. And he just said, well, it's time for me to leave the room, So, Trustee Ryan, would you like to say a few words?
He's getting mad.
Yeah. He's in a bed.
Actually, yeah. Thank you, everybody, whoever voted for me, supported me, wrote a letter for myself and Carol, put up a sign, posted, all those things. To those people who supported me, we came up 66 votes short. That's a pretty good thing. That was a tough fight, and we lost, but we came close. We made them work for it. So thank you for that. Thank you for the board members. Even when we didn't agree, you forced me to be at my best. It's not time to retire yet, so you kept me active, you kept me involved. I was forced to think in ways maybe that I wasn't used to thinking. So it hasn't been fun being on this board all the time. You don't vote to lay off 270 people and call it fun, but you sure get interested. The whys, the wherefores, things that you don't know that go on out there. I can remember, you wouldn't believe it, but Bob Clark, who's supposed to be on the district side and not on the teacher side, making an argument about how we should treat the teachers. And if we didn't do that, it was basically immoral. I've been around lawyers for 31 years, and they've argued the law. They never argued morality. That was the first time I ever heard that. So it's been interesting. It's been something that I didn't expect. Going forward, there's a lot that I will miss that I won't be a part of. The first thing is, like Joe said, the special needs community. That last election, almost half of the candidates had some ties to the special needs community. As the president of CPAC put it, if that doesn't tell you what the community thinks about the special education department, nothing will. They've been asking for a child study team for a number of years, and we couldn't give it to them. I had the displeasure of saying, we just don't have the money. Well, now we're financially solvent. We should be getting more state aid. Mr. Neese, Mr. Castles, I hope you hear this. They desperately need some help. It's expensive. It's a hard lift. Members of the board, I hope you're listening to that. These people need it. Mr. Munoz came up with a good point, and I've been thinking about this for a while. We go to different things. He goes down to Lincoln School, Henry Harris School. I go to CPAC. I think it's time for the board members to think about asking for the board members to be adopted by different PTOs. Why shouldn't each school have one board member that goes to every meeting? Why shouldn't they have interaction with the parents on a regular basis? Because basically when I go to a CPAC meeting, I bring the book, I write some notes down, I come back with a horror story or a good story, whatever I come back with, but I learn. And I learned it's not all unicorns and rainbows. There are some warts in the place. So why shouldn't we do that? I would hope you guys would be open to that in the coming months. We had a very bad day in law enforcement the other day. It can happen here. I was on the job when a student was murdered here. I would like to see a new committee. It doesn't have to meet every month, but a safety and security committee. It should be composed of one member of each of the standing committees and the president, and of course, the superintendent. They can do, maybe a good year might involve just a review of what we're doing, how we're operating with the police department, what our procedures are. But on the other hand, we need panic buttons. We need to interface with our community members. The whole thing about social emotional learning is coming to the forefront. And it's not panic buttons, it's not cops, it's our relationships with each other that keeps us safe. That's something that needs the support of the board in general, and this is a way to get to that point. So those are some of the things that I seriously would have liked to have worked on, and I hope you guys will work on in the future. That said, I was kind of hoping our student council representative were here to take a message back. Mr. Castles, if you could get word back to him from the profession, and I don't get to speak for every cop often, I never do. That was very moving, that they thought of a blue out, that they put together and Mr. Wyatt, since you're in the school, maybe you can bring it back, that they thought to put a display up. We're, basically because they're born rule breakers at adolescence, and we're tasked with enforcing rules, we often operate at cross purposes. The fact that they would support us when we're hurting, and we are, it means a lot. So please pass the words to the students. It means a lot to us. It does hurt, but that's what gets us back to work every day. So with that, thank you guys for having me. It's been fun. It's been interesting, not always fun, but it always has been interesting. And I'll see you around.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring to your attention two outstanding trustees, both Mr. Ryan and Ms. Cruden. And in their tenure here, the interaction with them has been an experience and a learning experience at that. They have brought to the Board of Education, to the families throughout the city of Bayonne, health, well-being, safety, security, law enforcement, as well as legal matters. And what they have brought to the families of the city of Bayonne is just absolutely phenomenal. And they are going to be missed. I would like to ask you to join me in a round of applause for two outstanding trustees.
Finally, I'd probably just like to say that to everybody for the season coming up, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and to everybody, a Happy New Year. So have a good one. Be safe. Hug your kids and spend as much time with them as you possibly can. You won't regret it. Thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I made that motion.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second to adjourn on that motion. And second, Trustee Alonso?
Yes.
Trustee Cassius?
Yes.
Trustee Cruden is absent. Trustee Finnerty?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Trustee Bellato?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
It is 8:03. The board will not return.